Well, you definitely want to start with questions. Yeah.
Okay, well, you said you were going to talk a little bit about pictures, and
Mhm.
one of my simple questions is, yesterday I uploaded the picture. It's of a statue, standing up statue.
Okay.
And when I uploaded it into the media library, it was sideways. It was this way.
Okay.
And then when I loaded it onto the page or the article, the summary has it this way, but when you click to read more, it's right. It's in there like both ways, even though it's only in there one time.
Okay.
But
And
actually in the library, it's sideways.
do you still have that image in there?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and masquerade as you. Do I have your last name right here?
Scott.
Oh, no. Is it your full name spelled out, Barbara? Okay. Yeah, I do have you there.
But it may be that it's trying to make a thumbnail of it somehow.
Yeah, that's I posted it. I forget where I guess I posted it on the front page. Yeah, go down and see. No, maybe I didn't post it on the front
Well,
page.
I'm going to check manage files. We should see it there. Okay.
Yeah, there. Yeah. I tried a couple of different ways to get it to be straight. I put it on sideways. I actually edited it to turn it sideways to see if it would be up straight then. But then when I go to the page that it's actually on, it is straight.
Were these images originally taken on a phone?
Yes.
Okay. And then let me see if I can see where they're at. We've seen this happen before. And sorry, the reason I'm making my screen so tiny is because I want to see the link to the right to see where the image is being used. That screen would usually not be so wide, but I can quickly jump over to that page. Okay, so
it looks fine on the page.
Yeah, I'm seeing, and this is being used as the main image here.
Yes.
Okay. For this portion, I'm not sure how it has fixed itself, but usually when we see images that are sideways, like we did in the original upload of that, there is a setting when it comes to landscape photos that can affect, and these are landscape photos taken with a phone, that can affect the image when it's uploaded to your computer. So editing
this wouldn't have been a landscape image, though. I mean,
yeah, it's a portrait.
It's a portrait, but I mean, that's how I took it this way.
And it was just a straight up.
Go back to the page that goes to here. What's
the files list?
No,
the content, manage content.
No, before it goes to the actual page, there's this page. I forget what I called it, but did I call it an article? Maybe it was an article.
I see.
The page that calls that page didn't do it right. That page had a thumbnail. Yeah, there.
Okay. And when you edited the image, did you edit it on your computer? Like did you try to rotate it after and then re-upload?
Yes, that was on my computer.
Okay. So what we're going to try is, you wouldn't need to download this. You would just be able to work with the version that you have on your computer. But I'm going to download one of these versions and see if I can try editing it from my computer just as you had done and see what the difference will be there.
So you think it's because I took the photo on my phone that causing this issue?
I think so, only because we've seen that happen before, where the image, when you're first uploading it, it looks upright, and then after they submitted their upload, it is no longer coming up that way. It's usually, I can't remember from which direction, but it is usually on its side when it's after it's uploaded. So what I'm going to do is try editing it. It could be done with any image viewing. It doesn't have to be like a fancy editing service. All I want to do is rotate it. So I'm just going to rotate it a few times. That might feel pointless, but once I did have to recommend that to, I believe it was the same situation where the image was uploaded with the phone, or originally taken with the phone and uploaded
I
on
have to
it.
say, I did not do this. What I
Did you
did
try
was,
rotating? No.
I tried rotating the main image and then uploading it on its side to see if it would come up straight.
I see.
I
Okay.
didn't take, I guess,
I
I don't
think,
know. I guess my image was straight up, so I didn't have to rotate it. That was the thing. And on my
right.
computer, it's straight up.
But the looking at it from manage files here, it's
Right,
on its side. Yeah. So
right.
there is something that the main image is doing to show it properly, but technically, because this is how the upload came up, this is technically the original version of it. So the original version is on its side within
So,
Milo.
so I guess what I'm saying is I didn't have an original version like that. So you
Right.
downloaded it from the website? I mean, you downloaded it from Milo?
Yes, but even if you were working with your original one and you had it right side up like this, you'll still go through these motions of opening it up in an image viewing service. It's going to be right side up like this, and it's going to feel very pointless to just rotate it 4 times.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
That ended up being the solution for the most recent person that this affected. And I had myself tested out and had her set that forth, and she was able to fix it that way. I'm not sure of why it happens, but I'm hoping that this will be the fix to it. I don't know, Barb, if you want me to go ahead and upload this, or if you want to try it with your original version.
Nope, you go ahead and
Okay.
upload it.
Okay. So let me
But you
make
know,
sure.
it may have, there may be some kind of metadata that the phone puts in there that is not compatible with what Milo. I mean, some of it is, but some of it isn't. So this is,
Obviously, it corrected it for the main page.
yeah, but it depends on the one is landscape and one is the thumbnail is a little different. And the thumbnail, I tailor my thumbnails separately and just make sure they have the aspect ratio I want them to have. And then I do the banner for the article or whatever it is so that
Oh,
it
I
has
see.
the right aspect. So I don't have to deal with it screwing around with it.
Right. Yeah, there you do have that option to use 2 different images for whatever type of content, whether it be an article, an event, or just a page. Um, we can show that really quick if you wanted to go over that. But before we get to that, I have the image from the media library. Let me jump back. All I did to get here was click on Manage Files, and then I'm clicking on the image so I can get to edit that. This is going to allow me to replace the file. So I don't have to upload a new image entirely. I can just replace the current one. And because the file names are the same here, keeping original file name won't make a difference, but you can check that if needed, and then just scroll back to the bottom and save. It may take some time to see the item, the uploaded item change. So we're going to let that marinate for some time and come back to it and see what that looks like. But real quick to show folks what we were talking about when it comes to being able to, like how Liz was saying, using one image in the thumbnail and then using another image here at the top of the page. When you start a new draft of your content, and once that page loads, you have 2 different fields. The image that displays at the very top and in the thumbnail is the main image. So this is the most powerful image that you would put in your page because it's going to display in 2 places, the thumbnail and at the top of the page. If you wanted to have a different thumbnail than what is showing at the top of the page. The alternate hero image allows you to have a different top page image. So you could keep the main image in the thumbnail, but then having the alternate hero image will then show up something else at the top. And then related to that, you can click to not display an image at the top of your page. So if this was saved like this, the statue would only be displaying as the thumbnail. And then when we would open the page, we wouldn't see the large image of that. But we'll leave that. I won't save that. Any other questions? And they can totally be unrelated.
I'm still struggling with the slideshow. So
Okay.
that's the slideshow, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you're seeing there. There's only one slideshow for my website, correct?
Right.
So if I create a slideshow, it's gonna show up there. Is there a Milo tutorial or YouTube or whatever on slideshows?
I think we have something light. We know we definitely have written documentation. I'm quickly checking here to see if we have. We do have something. I think it is a small or a short video. I'll put it into the chat here. And while I'm doing that, I see that Jan has her hand raised. Jen, are you able to unmute yourself if you wanted to jump in here and ask your question?
My question is, we subscribe to LWV California articles, and what I'm getting from them has no links in it. So it'll say, oh, read our newsletter, but you can't click on the newsletter because there's no links.
Okay, that is okay. And that is, is the URL there like typed out and it's just not hyperlinked?
No, there's no URLs.
Okay, it's almost like they've just disappeared.
It's like they did plain text and they didn't add links.
Okay, I see. So the text is there, but the link is not. I'm first going to just pull up the, well, let's pull them both up. I'll be pulling up your site, and it's Orange Coast, correct, Jan?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So I want to check out what it looks like subscribed on a site, and then I want to see what it looks like on the California site.
Go to news.
Okay, thank you. So we'll
scroll down.
California, and well, we can test it out to see if there are any links. Okay, this one does not.
Go to the one that's about the new newsletter.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So yeah, it definitely, I would believe that those are going to be hyperlinked. So Democracy Works winter newsletter. And I'm jumping back now. This is the California articles originally on the California site. Oh, okay. No, we do not have them linked there. One more check, because I believe these are actually coming from our main site. If they are linked here, then that, well, here, it's down here. If they are linked here, then that tells us there's something, yeah, okay. There's something going on with the communication from our main site to our Milo site that is not bringing over the link. So thank you for bringing that up, Jan. I think that should be a pretty simple fix for our tech team. Okay.
I'd also like to point out there's an attachment there that we'd like to get as well, if when it comes over to my.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it definitely looks like images and text are coming over nicely, but maybe anything else is having some trouble. All right.
I wonder if that's more general.
Well, we do have something in place that is automatically communicating articles from our lwvc.org site to our Milo site. So I think that function
Oh,
is
most of
going
us
to be.
don't have that then.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so you shouldn't have to worry about this affecting any of your Milo sites,
Okay.
but only
See,
if you're
that's-
subscribed to the California articles. Yeah, it definitely would affect you a bit there.
So I'm a little surprised that California has two different sites.
We did start our lwvc.org site before we began the Milo project for local leagues. We are on the same system. We are a Drupal site at lwvc.org. And so having learned that system really was super helpful in learning Milo much quicker because they're essentially the same. But because we already had that site in place, we didn't want to go through another site migration to an exactly Milo site at that time.
So what does your Milo site have? It's some subset of what you had before, or I mean, what do you
It
put on
is
the
kind
Milo
of,
site?
it is based on the look of the site is more based on our previous site, I believe. But the back end is very much is Milo
But I
because
mean, do
it
you
is
have
Drupal.
news articles? And I mean, I'm wondering, it must be different content that you had than you had on the original site that was done in Drupal. I mean,
The,
do you have time? You do have things like articles and news and positions and things like that on your org site, the one you're just.
yes, I believe so. I haven't dove into our site very much, but some of the like the action alerts and articles, the way that we have them built up in Milo are customized to be used by league members. And our main site is not that customized because we are just staff that are using it.
But it might be a model for other states that are hesitant to leave their main site behind that they've worked so hard on. If there's some way they can take advantage of some of the Milo things.
Oh, that is a good point. That might be to the point of the request that I'll ask of the tech team about can action alerts be picked up from one league to display as another's. Maybe it might be a question of can we implement a function of moving something from one site to another? I'm not sure if that's possible, but that gives me some more to find information about. Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions, or I can dive into our topic?
I have one more comment about subscriptions.
Mhm.
And it is that it takes up half of our page to see the California news articles, and sometimes it bumps more recent things that we've put out because we only get half of our page when we subscribe to the California.
Well, the articles page does display, oops, and I closed the wrong one there. 5 of each. Whoops.
Exactly. And if you go back 5 on California, it goes way back. But we put out articles all the time, and it bumps our articles because we run out of space because California is taking way too much space on our page.
I'm not sure I am understanding because no matter how large the article is or how many there still are going to be 5 displayed for your league.
I'm saying our league might have 10 articles in January, And we want all of those because they're still kind of recent. But when you go back and when you can't allocate more space to our articles, some of them get bumped into the view all
I see.
area, and people can't find them there. They don't even know that they're all back there. I'd rather be able to have more control about what shows in the subscribed area.
Okay.
In other words, less space dedicated to that area if we have more critical, important local things we need to show.
Okay. I get you there. Thank you. I think it, depending on how you feel about this, what you could do too is the view all page where it is just showcasing your leagues. You could make this one of your menu links. Maybe that could be your news, and you could add the main articles page where it's the mix of your leagues and your subscribed articles. That could be a separate like subscribed news or something like that. I'm not sure, but that, you know, that would totally be up to you. But that could be a workaround so that the initial landing space is just yours. And then if they wanted to see more, they could find more that way. And you also have control. Oh, and actually, let me make sure that you have control over your headers there. On the articles landing page where it's the mix of your own leagues and your subscribed leagues, you have the edit your leagues headers section. So that could be another space where you could explain to people what's going on that page, that, you know, you saw all of our articles here, and this is now a mix of ours and somebody else's. But
How would she make a different page of articles? Isn't that something that Milo does for us?
well, what she's actually just doing is creating a menu link. So I'm just going to go through the motions and not save it, the
Okay.
menu link, but let's recreate that. So I clicked on view all when I was looking at the articles, just so that I can get this URL and copy that to my clipboard. You can get to the menu through your administer league site menu here, or from any page on your site where you see your own menu and you click on list links. So both of those get you to the same destination. And I'm sorry, I forgot to masquerade. So this screen looks a bit different, but same idea. So we would first need to add a link, or actually, depending, if you were going to edit an existing one, you'd go through edit, or if you're adding new, you're just going to go here at the top.
I get it.
This is possible because we have the view all page. It's not a page we've made, it's a page that exists.
Right. Yeah,
in
it
the
is a
system.
page. Exactly. And it has to exist because technically your articles page, where it's the mashup of yours and the subscribed, the data is being pulled from the view all page.
Mhm.
And then just to finish up, you would put that URL that you copied into the path, and then your menu link title is going to be what shows up as the name of that. You have a chance to set the weight here, and that gives you a head start on where it's going to be positioned in the menu. But don't worry, after you save, you will be able to rearrange it. I'm going to go back just to show this is how you rearrange with those grabby handles.
And another thing, when you're talking to your tech team about subscribed articles, we would like to have the ability to display some of the things that have been subscribed to on our main page.
Oh, yes. Thank you for that. We are, we've made that request to our tech team, and we're hoping that we can get some movement on that, but definitely that is in the works in our brain for webmasters.
I have some questions. I'm really new to this. So my first question is, on our webpage, you have to have an account and log in. I'm in Stillwater, Oklahoma, but some of the other Oklahoma sites, I can see their information without having to create an account and log in. So I would like ours. I want to know where I can change that.
Okay. You're probably referring to the login bar that's displayed across the top of your site.
Yeah, it takes you, when you type in the address, the web address, it takes you to a site that just says you have to be logged in to view this. So you
I
can't
see. Okay.
see any of our events or anything.
Okay.
Until you're logged in with an account.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Then that means that your site is inactive. I was confusing it with something else. So let's first find your league in this list. The way to know that your site is not public, I'm making my way here back to the Milo homepage. On the Milo homepage, we list all of the live sites. Some of these state sites, you'll know that they're going to be just shell sites because there's local leagues within them. But when I try to search for Stillwater, it tells me it's not live because it's not in the list.
Okay.
So let me first masquerade as you. So the theme will look like the same for you guys. And is your username Beth just Beth Furnish?
Let me look. I'm using somebody. We just have one login. It's LWV Stillwater OK. That's the login.
Okay, thank you. All right, so logged in and on your homepage, you would start a new draft of your homepage. And
Okay.
it's going to be found under advanced settings. So scroll down to open that field. And
hang on, I was trying to follow along with you.
And restrict entire league to members only. So let me go through that again. You click on new draft for your homepage.
Okay.
You'll scroll down to these collapsed sections and then click on advanced settings.
Advanced. Okay.
And then scroll down a bit some more. And then you have restrict entire league to members only. This is what is making it accessible to only your members or those who log in.
Okay.
Another thing to note too, once you make your site public, if you want users to be able to register for an account, a Milo account with your league, then you can allow your name or your league's name to be shown on the registration page. So that's when somebody clicks on, I want to create a Milo account. They're then able to look at a list of local leagues that have a Milo site and they can choose your league's name. And what that does is sends a pending request to your league. So it doesn't grant them immediate access.
Okay. So if I should, under the group I'm trying to see the
Yeah, let me zoom
register,
in.
Do show on registration page, and then if I restrict the entire league to members only, if I put public, have the public can see things, and then we can have like a members only region.
Yeah. And then, so once you change those two settings and just scroll all the way down to the bottom, because you're making a major change, you will want to publish immediately and then save.
Okay, I hit save. Should I not have done that?
If you just hit save only, just go over to moderate and you can click the apply button. And that just allows you to quickly push through whatever settings you had put in the draft.
Let's see, just hit.
Yeah, once you go to moderate and then hit that blue apply button.
Okay.
And we should see that. Yeah, so now that the new draft button is back. That tells us that there is no current draft. And let's just jump back to the Milo homepage. Let's see. Stillwater. Awesome. Okay, so you are live. Congrats.
Huge, thanks.
Definitely. All right. Did anybody else have any other questions? Okay.
I have another question then.
Yeah.
I think this is an old one. I don't know. It's my.lwv.org. Is that?
That's our Milo homepage.
Okay. So there's a link on there to get people to join. Let me see here. Let me pull it up. There was a link for Stillwater, but it would take you to the old one. Let's see. Yeah.
Was it from my.lwv.org or was it on your homepage?
So it's from my.lwv.org, like where you can look up the Oklahoma leagues to join.
Mm-hmm.
Drop the address in the chat if that helps.
Yeah. Well, if it is this page that I'm looking at.
Oh, sorry. Is it went to Liz? Is that sorry? It went. I thought it was.
Sorry.
There we go.
Oh,
Okay. I see that
just
there.
saw your note, Liz. Oh, great.
Okay. I see. Yeah, this is the state site, but I'll go ahead and change it for them. Usually if this happens, you can just make the request to that site directly or to that league directly.
Okay.
But we'll make the change for them here. Let me just find the link to the join page on your new site now. And I'll copy that.
But she hasn't published it yet, right? So
She just did.
you
Yeah,
actually did publish it?
They are live.
Okay.
Although this theme looks a bit different, the steps to do this are the same as for you. So if you're wanting to update a link that is already there, all you have to do is click into that active link. You'll then see these two icons light up or get highlighted. Click on the insert edit link. It's the chain link that is connected. And you'll see the URL that you want to change. So we'll remove that and then just paste in what you copied and update.
Okay, and then another question. I just put another link in. Is this a website that you guys run? I'm just coming in here to kind of clean things up for them, and just I'm not sure how some of these websites came to be.
Okay, so this other site is the Lou site. So we do have control over this site, but because your league is using the domain lwvstillwater.org, you'll have to update the domain with whoever the provider is. Like it could be GoDaddy or Network Solutions, some company separate that you will have to update the name servers, and I can definitely give you the exact details of what like the data you need to change. But aside from that, then you'll need to make sure that you have a forward from your domain to your new Milo site. So yeah, now that you have published your Milo site, that is definitely the next step to get your domain pointing in the right place.
Okay, so I can talk to you later about that?
Yeah,
Right?
we'll definitely need to give you the details on what you need for your domain.
Okay, those are my pressing issues. So
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Again, congrats. That is very exciting to be moving forward. All right. Well, if nobody else has any other questions, I can give it a second for any hands to be raised or you to chime in. Oh, Harriet, I see you're talking, but you're muted.
I just wanted to say I was able to link the action alert from Edwardsville to my site. So thank you.
Oh,
Awesome.
where are you?
Downers Grove.
Oh, great.
So it works.
Awesome. Oh, Barb, you're muted.
I'm new at doing those action alerts. So if there's something that you want me to do differently, I'm open for suggestions. Like this time there was 4 or 5 of them. And I just put them all into one because it seemed easier. But if that's confusing, I guess we could do 5 separate ones.
Well,
So anyway,
I was a little surprised there were one. And actually, I only saw 3 mentioned, but maybe those were the bills. There were 2 other things related to it. But we can talk about that
yeah, yeah.
offline.
I got to put them up there. You know, my people need them. So I'm thinking, why should you two be putting them up there too?
Well, we're very happy that you're willing to do that. It's very great, good. Actually, and it also, if we could get the attention of the State League right now, they could see the benefit of it. But they might show more benefit if we had all of them, 5 separate ones. But maybe Amaris has some advice for us. Whether they, when we get an email with 5 different
Action
Action
alerts.
alerts?
Yeah, whether they should be 5 or 1.
I was going to do them separately if they had different time frames, but they were all had to be done the same time. So that's why I thought, well, this way the person will read it. They'll see there's 5 of them. When they call the representative, they'll tell them all 5 of them instead of having to look at each individual one. That's why I lumped them all together, because if one had been do it by next month or something, I would have put that separately, because that's when the action alert, I think that's the key thing. When do I have to do this by?
Yeah,
So
well,
that's why I focused on that.
I think I understand your logic. Weren't 3 of them really pressing, and then 2 were something that we wanted them to be aware, keep pressing for? Maybe we better talk separately.
We'll do separate.
This is Mary Jo. Can I just ask a general question about that? So wasn't here when you talked about the action alerts initially. So I guess it's some lame duck thing, but so are you assuming that your members and people in the community look at your website every day?
No.
I love how you put that.
All our members in the state have already gotten an email about this.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
Okay.
we're just crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Got it. Okay.
Maybe
I have noticed that recently there has been more activity in our stuff.
Good.
We've had more likes to our page. We've had more likes to our Facebook page. I believe because of what else happening in our country, there's more and more people looking for sources of information like our league provides. So I'm trying to make certain at this point in time, if people are interested, I want to put out whatever I can put out in case they're just looking.
Yeah.
Right.
To see what it is that the league does. So it's not just a static page. They can learn and maybe even try to join. We've had several people join after they see what's happening. So that's my goal. Get it out there as quickly as I can. It's not for my members because they already got their stuff, but it's for the public if they're looking.
Definitely.
Amaris, do you have any advice though? When they come all at once, a bunch of them, is it better to do them as multiple ones or as one?
I think because of how Barb was saying that they were due at the same time, that would make me believe that all at once is the best. You don't want to send several separate messages because you might bombard your subscribers. They might not be motivated to act as much as if they just received one message about
But
it.
we don't bombard them at all. They go to the site and look at it. This isn't like an email. Unless
Oh,
I
I was
misunderstand.
understanding that the 5 action alerts went out in an email. Was that
They did,
okay?
and that was fine to be all together.
Mhm.
We're asking though, when we put them on the website, whether
Oh, I
they
see.
should be 5 separate ones or one that refers to all of them.
That is a good question. When it comes to the website, I think you definitely do have more flexibility to make them one each their own. And I think that if they don't have a similar subject, that it would be beneficial to have them on their own. But say if they were under one umbrella, you could definitely get away with it and have several actions all at once, as long as you had the appropriate links in the right sections. But I would lean towards separating them out. Keeps it clean for yourself as well in the back end. Jumping and switching gears here to the topic that we were going to discuss. And because
Finally, you get.
yeah, finally diving in. We've discussed this a few times before, kind of here and there, but I just wanted to get into the places where we get free images and how to edit them for free as well. So first, the CC licenses that we want to be aware of and know of, the most important ones, aside from the CC BY, where this requires, it requires attribution. You get to use the image for free, but you have to say who created that. Aside from that one, I'm going to scroll down to the very last one. This is our favorite, public domain, the CC0. You do not need to attribute. You can change it up to however you want the image to be.
Where
That's
are
the
you?
biggest thing. I am
Where
on
is this page?
creativecommons.org.
Did you
I'm gonna
put
go
that in
back
the
to the
company
very top.
chat?
Yeah, I'm going to put the specific URL that I'm on that is specifically about the CC licenses. Most of the time, the sources of images are going to have, or when you're looking at a specific image that you're trying to download, it should have some mention of whatever the license is. And so you can always use this page as a reference because there's definitely several others that you might want to know how the license will affect your use of it. Another one that is maybe not as easy to use, but definitely I think the league could use it, is this one here, the CC BY NC license, where you have to credit the author, and then you also, there's a requirement of non-commercial use. So because we're a nonprofit and educational, there's a chance to, argue that, but to not worry about any problems, the best licenses to focus on are the CC BY and the CC0, which is public domain. All right, and then now let's just.
Amaris, are you done with Creative Commons?
Yes.
Well, could you go up at the top and just
Mhm.
type in something? And because when I do it, I don't remember seeing anything about the licenses. I just look for the words, do not have to, attribute. So could you just like do an example up there, search for CC images?
Oh, I see.
Just do a typical and see what shows up.
Yeah, well, I am going to show some sources of images.
So,
this is,
I see. So that's where we could limit it, that top one, CCO.
yeah,
Okay,
and actually,
that's what I wanted to know.
thank you for
Where
pointing
is
this
that?
out,
I've done
Mary
that
Jo.
before.
This is actually probably the easiest way. You probably would want to start here first. I am not sure which sources there. Oh, here we go. Duh. They have a long list of sources here. And so I have some others separate from these, but definitely this is one place that you can start when you're looking for an image that's free to use. So you could use that
I've done that.
CC0.
Okay.
The public domain, I'm not sure why this is separate from CC0, but I would recommend those three, even to just be super safe if you wanted to make sure you don't have to attribute at all, just the first two. And that gives you the chance to work freely with these images. So let's, let me also show you the others, and I can throw the URLs into the chat. Let me do that for this one too. So this was the Creative Commons search. All right, and then the usual ones that we recommend, Flickr, from, I think that's where it's going to be at. Nope. There we go. Flickr's or flickr.com/photos/LWV. And I think ours is found just by adding C. So those are definitely free images to use that you can remix and change, and no credit is needed there. Pixabay is another that we have gone over in other office hours. Whoops, let me close that up. And this Pixabay is one that does not require attribution. Unsplash is another. Oops. I should spell it correctly. There we go.
How can these companies make any money if these are all, I mean, how do they
Yeah.
make money? Advertising or something?
I think so. Most of these sites do advertise. If it's not just general advertising, a lot of them will show like those paid stock image services. So that is one thing too. Thank you for bringing that up, Liz, to be careful of when you're doing a search on one of these pages. Let's just do one and see if it does show the other stock images. This might be a bad example. This is Unsplash is pretty good about keeping the ads out. Let's see about Pixabay. So when it comes to those that have the stock images mixed up, this is a good example. You'll notice that the first row, the first row is coming from iStock. It's sponsored from iStock. So be careful of clicking on those and ending up on a paid image site. You should notice the watermarks, but we definitely don't want to send you in the wrong direction when you're looking at a free site like this. And then a couple others. So some that we haven't gone over before, PickWizard, pickwizard.com. So the first three that I went over before I continue on with PickWizard, the Flickr sites, the Pixabay, and Unsplash, and the Creative Commons search, those are all free to use, no attribution required. When it comes to the Creative Commons, you have to specify public domain. But those Flickr, Pixabay, and Unsplash, those do not require any credit, and you can change those freely.
All of these seem to be photos more. Is there a similar set of websites for graphics that maybe are even vector graphics?
Yeah, I believe, let's see, and let me, sorry, before I move on, let me throw this into the chat. And let's check out Stocksnap. stuxsnap.io. This is another that looks like it's quite a lot of photos. This is another that you'll want to make sure photo by photo that it is no attribution required, because some may require credit. I do have a couple more in my list, and I thought that one of them might have graphics. I guess not.
Amaris,
I'm going to make a note of that.
if you purchased a from iStock, do you need to put a person's name at attribute, or is it you've purchased it and that's it?
You will still need to go by whatever the original license states. So it could be that they're charging for that image, but it could still be a CC BY license. So that would still require you to credit the author, this type of license here.
Amaris,
Yes.
this is Jan. I have a question about, say, images that we get from LWV US. Can we assume that if they put them on something they've used, we can use it as well?
Yes, I think that that is a pretty safe rule to go by. When we have put it out there, you know, that is already allowing you to subscribe to something like that. So definitely you can make use of those. Again, if you wanted to change the image, I would just suggest making sure that it's not changing. If it's changing the message of the original image, you might want to reach out to the National League, but as long as you are reusing that image in a similar tone.
And if they bought a stock photo and used it, we can use it as well?
That is a good question. That might get a little sticky just because you may not know, you know, us as outsiders, because we didn't purchase the original stock image, we might not know the license of it. So
That's kind of the dilemma I'm in. I don't know where they got that image, so I don't know if I can use it.
And who do you contact if you want to ask, as you say?
My suggestion would be, we have that Facebook group, the New Media Group, I believe it's called. Kayla Vix is the moderator there. Let's see. Media. Oh, it probably came up when here we go. League of Women Voters, New Media. So Kayla Vix was the first person that came to my mind, and because she's in this group, that might be a great way to start to reach out to the National League.
Related to that,
I have another question. A lot of times, public agencies will have a media page, and they'll have graphics out there, some really nice graphics and some things that we really want to use, and they put it out there for media to use. Does that mean we can use it? Yeah,
if they are allowing, they're putting it out there so that it can be shared, you as non-media can definitely use it as well.
Also, I worked for a government lab, and that's owned by the people. I mean, people, the lab doesn't own it. So what we may have as media can be used by the public. So it's a government owned, but it means we can use it. Or I don't mean where I worked could use it. Everybody can use it. It's there for the world. But when you go to find a image, I always look to see if there's anything in the media library that on Milo
Yeah.
And the default is that it's not approved or whatever whether you are allowed to use it or not. The default in your search, you have to go and say all
Oh.
files. That seems a little weird to me. Why would you have a default where you haven't had it approved for use?
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping that that could be just a simple, clicking the other option is just a switch that the team will have to make there.
Thank
And
you.
that's when you're searching for an image to use.
Yeah, from the media library, from the
Okay.
Milo one.
Okay.
Unless it's something that's left over in a cookie or something, maybe.
Yeah. But I'll be sure to get the team on that. Yeah, because we want the default to be permission has been received. Okay, so the last place that I had on my list was first shopify.com. This is geared towards Shopify users, but that doesn't mean we can't use it too. I believe that this is another source of photos. I don't think that they have graphics either.
The reason I like graphics is if you're going to have a thumbnail on your top page, I like to have a graphic that sort of has a theme because there's certain, you may have things related to the environment. And photos don't always give that message as much as a graphic might. So
Yeah. Well, let
it'd be
me
nice
let
if
me
we
give
get,
you the source of the list of sort of free to use images. I got this list from an article, and there was a source of graphics, but because it was certain attribution and the licenses weren't that easy to allow you to use them, I didn't include them. But I'm going to go ahead and put the URL so that you can take a look at this if you wanted to see the rest of those.
well, also there's, if they're vector graphics, then you can manipulate them to make them serve your purpose more.
Yeah. Yeah, and graphics are very nice to see on the website mixed in with the photos. Okay, so aside from those sources of images, I also wanted to talk about the image editing services. We all probably know about Canva. This is probably the one that I hear of the most in League. It does allow you to start off with a free trial, but it is just regularly a paid service if I'm correct. I believe some of you use it on the call for your league, right? Liz, do you use Canva?
No, I don't. And
Oh,
but my social media person does. And I just
okay.
asked her, I said, it looks like I have to pay for this. And she said, no, you don't have to. I don't understand that.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well, I don't know
thank
if
you for
she's
that.
right, but
Yeah, I'm not sure because I after poking around here, oh well, it looks like you do get to subscribe. It is not just a trial, so it is a bit limited. You only have a certain amount of cloud storage, but that's probably not a big deal. And then the templates, yeah, there's about half of what you would get if you paid, but definitely that's still a good number. This should give you some access to photos and graphics.
I didn't understand how to limit it to web type graphics. It seemed like it was oriented to flyers and posters, and maybe I just have to investigate it more. Does anybody else use it?
Yeah, it would be worth poking around.
Amaris,
Mhm,
on you said the Flickr, the Pixabay, the Unsplash were
mhm,
free.
mhm.
And then you had the Pick Wizard and another one
Oh yeah, Pick
that
Wizard.
they are not free or
They are free, but I guess the main difference is that the first three, Flickr, Pixabay, and Unsplash, don't require attribution, and then the others, PickWizard, StockSnap.io, Pexels, and then Burst.shopify, those may require attribution. They are kind of mixed up. So you may find an image in there that's public domain and doesn't require crediting the author at all. But you have to keep your eyes peeled on those sites. When it comes to Flickr, Pixabay, and Unsplash, you can find whatever image and use it knowing that it can be used for free. Oh, and awesome, Jan threw in a link into the chat to check out the Noun project for free icons.
The noun, oh, let me see that. That sounds good.
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so definitely Canva is worth checking out now that we know that there is a way to do it for free. It does say that there's social media posts, like that's a type of design. So yeah, Liz, I would say poke around in the free template to see what that's about.
I find that what she uses for social media doesn't really have the aspect ratio that I want.
I see.
I
Well,
don't like a great big image on the top of a page. I want a banner.
I see. Yeah, there are others. I'm not sure if Crello has a banner type, but this is another that is, I feel like, very geared towards social and posting onto the web because they start out here with a bunch of types of designs. So the dimension of the post or graphic that you'd like to make. I'm thinking maybe you might try Facebook cover, Liz, if you try out Crello. The Facebook cover is pretty long and somewhat narrow.
Okay.
But yeah, this is something that's very similar to, I think it's very much like Canva. You could start out with a template or create something of your own.
Is this free?
Yes, it is free to use. Let me jump over to the plans so I can show that. It is not allowing me. Well, if it doesn't allow me to get to there we go, to the pricing. It is a free plan, but it does limit your design downloads to 5 per month. So that would be one thing to consider, that you could have, multiple accounts if you wanted to keep going with the free thing with Crello.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then this is another, as most editing services will offer a free or access to free images and graphics and fonts. And then, did I drop that into the chat?
No.
Yes, Crello is in there, but I didn't drop in Canva. And I will do my best to post up a summary of what we talked about too for others' benefits who weren't able to join us today.
Oh, this is really helpful.
Awesome. All right, and then moving on to the next one, vector.com. This one is like Photoshop online. That's how I like to consider it. So it is definitely a more advanced tool. You get to use it directly online. Oops, I'm sorry. I brought us back.
Well, it's nice to see everybody.
So yeah, this is one that you can definitely tell the ads are making the money for them. You will need to sign up to be able to save your work online if you wanted to come back to it. But it has layers as Photoshop does. And I think when you first sign in, it gives you a tutorial. So you're not just being thrown into the program.
It's called Vectors. So can you do vector graphics with it?
I think you can create some graphics, but it will take some tweaking of working with different layers and different shapes if you wanted to create them yourself.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure if, I don't think that this will have the same library of images, or I don't think it will have a library of vector images.
But it said free vector graphics on that page you were on before. Free vector graphics software.
Software, yeah. So not the actual graphics, but the software to be able to manipulate a vector graphic or to create a vector graphic. So that is one more advanced source, and then we have Pixlr. These photo editors love to just end it with an R and leave that vowel off. That's Pixlr. This photo editor allows two different software. So you can either use the easier version, which is Pixlr X, or the more advanced version, which is more like Photoshop, would be the advanced Pixlr E. So using the photo editor is, I think, yeah, they have a stock or the stock search that you can use. And they are sourcing these images from Unsplash. So that guarantees that they're going to be free and free of attribution. So you don't have to credit anybody. And one other service too that they offer, if you have photos that you'd like to remove the background of, Pixlr.com offers a remove background service too. So these are all free, and it works pretty well. I tried it on a picture of my mom, and I had to fix it up just a little bit, but it came out pretty good. Okay, and then last one I have on the list, which I liked, befunky.com. This is very much a standard photo editor, but what I liked about it was that the images are being sourced from 3 different places. So it's being sourced from Unsplash, it's being sourced from Pixabay, and it's being sourced from Pexels. So with them being sourced from Pexels, because they are allowing them to be used elsewhere, they are pulling the Creative Commons 0 licenses. So either they're pulling those directly and leaving the picture blank, or they're pulling the CC BY, which requires attribution, and they are putting the credit on the image directly, if that makes sense.
So maybe this is obvious, but if you get something that doesn't require attribution, are you free then to manipulate it?
Yeah, even when something does require attribution, you do have the freedom to manipulate it. There are some licenses that restrict the way that you can change it. So the CC BY SA, the adaptations must be shared under the same terms. So you would have to not only credit the author, but you would have to express the license as well. And then this is one that's very similar. The adaptations must be shared under the same terms, but then that non-commercial use where because we're an educational political organization, we might be able to squeeze that in there and get away with that. The only types of licenses where you can't make changes are the ND, the no derivatives or adaptations. So,
well, and I can see an
versions.
artist not wanting things screwed up on his wonderful image.
Yeah.
So this may be obvious to everybody who does all this, but what is CC BY?
CC BY, that one is one of the licenses that is good for us to use. It means that you have to, it's required to credit the author. So you can easily remember it by, like, byline. You have to say this was by such author.
Okay.
I usually do that in the, I think it's called image title. So when you hover over it, it shows where you got it, who did it, who
that
the
is-
photographer is.
Yeah, that is really great. I just want to point out real quick what she's talking about, what Jan is referring to.
That's sufficient?
That is one way. So when you make your way to an image, I'm going to quickly jump to edit just so I can see the title. So there's a title text here, image by author. If I put that text there, as soon as I save this, anytime somebody hovers over that image, oops, alt text is required. Sorry, there's some stuff I did not set before. Tree. And okay. So once you add that title text, it's going to show up whenever you hover over that image. So there we have it there. And so that is one way that it can be done. The downside to that is that any webmaster has access to edit the image's title text. So not just me as the owner, but let's say Liz could log in here and change my title text field to display something unique to her league. But it technically is changing the title text for the image across the site. So to guarantee that that image or that byline is going to remain, I would suggest using any one of these image editing services. So let's just try out Funky.
Yeah, because I could, I can come and download anybody's image, and then the title's gone from it, and I can use it on my website, but that information is no longer linked to that image.
Right. Yeah. So the best way would be to put that attribution right on the image where you've edited it into the image. Let's use that tree image that I was using, and what we want to do is just add text in the corner. Whoops. So I can't remember what I put by author. And then you might put the website of where you got it from. And somehow that's going to move. Oh, there we go. And it is very much like using Paint or Word. The only difference, the text size is displayed in pixels. Okay. That is sorry, this might not be the best one for just adding text. If you were simply adding text, I would recommend using the Pixlr service. So pixlr.com, pixlr.com. This was one that I had used already. And let's see if I can show that off. Hopefully it'll be quicker and easier to use. So it's as easy as adding the image from your computer, or you could use, if it's somewhere online, you could add the URL. There we go. And Oh yeah, okay, this is much better. It shows you the change in real time to the size of your text. And the controls are a whole lot easier to manipulate. Let's see if I can zoom that in. Yeah, so something like that, definitely you'd want to make it so that it's clear and easy to see. But just adding that in and saving your picture this way and uploading it with the byline in the image guarantees that even if they download a version of it, it's still crediting the author.